several hours this morning.
It's not for a while. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry.
Darling, you know, if you do want to see me whole, before the visiting hours are over, I suggest you get a move on.
Margot, I really can't do that right now. We're swamped with work.
To tell you the truth, ever since we had the news about the accident, you have been so preoccupied that your valued assistance has been slightly less than valuable.
I'm really sorry. I am concerned.
I know you are, darling. Look, as soon as you get to the hospital, call me and give me a first-hand account. I'm kind of worried, too.
Thanks. I will. Look, I will be right back right after visiting hours are over.
No, that's not necessary, darling. Go home.
No, I don't want to go home. I mean, go and stare at four walls. You know, God, what a time for Draper to go.
Well, he's coming home this evening, didn't he say?
Yeah. Yeah, I just wish he hadn't gone.
Oh, darling, wait a minute. Do me a favor. Tell Mary to stop all calls. I've just got to get a timing on that newscast.
Okay, no problem. I'll see you later.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Let's see. For several hours this morning, Walnut Street, USA resembled Venice, Italy, as a water main break made the avenue better suited for travel by gondola than by automobile. But, Mary, for heaven's sake, didn't April tell you to hold... Oh, all right, fine, thank you. Well, hello, Mrs. Madison.
Hello, Mrs. Dawn. How are you?
What can I do for you? I am busy.
Well, we do have something to discuss.
Oh, do we?
Yes. I'm sure you're aware of the topic.
Mrs. Madison, I don't like to sound rude, but I had got to get a newscast ready for this afternoon, and I really do not have the time.
Oh, well, then I'd be quite willing to come by the studio and wait until you do have a free moment.
Well, I just don't see the point.
This is very important to me. Besides, the sooner this is settled, the better. For all concerned.
Well, all right, if you must.
Mrs. Henson, this is Mr. Scott. I'm at LaGuardia. My plane just arrived.
You certainly didn't waste any time getting here, Mr. Scott.
Well, from your letter, I got the impression that you and I had something very important to discuss.
You have my address. You're welcome to come over here as soon as you can.
Yes, Mrs. Goodman, they're taking real good care of me here. I promise you. I'm fine. How's Adam? Oh, good. Good. Miles left with the suitcase? Oh, I guess he must be bringing some of my things over. Listen, tell Adam that Mommy gives him a big kiss, and I love him a lot, and then we'll be home real soon, okay? Bye, Mrs. Goodman. Thank you.
Come in. Oh, Miles.
No, but it's your friendly neighborhood chief of police.
Oh, Derek, hello.
If you're not in the mood for company, I understand. I can come back later.
Oh, no, come on in. Hi.
I brought you some flowers. Thought maybe that would cheer you up a little bit.
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
How do you feel? What's the verdict on your injury?
Oh, it's just a concussion, a few stitches. Dr. Corwin has promised me his best needlework. It's not even going to show.
Nicole, I want to tell you I'm really sorry about all this. About what happened back at your place and about this accident.
I'm sorry too, Derek.
You know I went back there.
You did? Why?
Well, after I had left, I heard the ambulance distress call on my radio. Wanted to go back to see if there's anything I could do. By the time I got there, you'd already been taken away.
Did you see Miles?
Yes? Well, he seemed very worried about you. Nicole, tell me exactly what happened after I left.
Well, as you said, it was an accident.
I can't believe the two of you didn't have words after his accusation.
Of course we did. But not very many. Adam started to cry, and I ran upstairs to see him, and I just guess I ran too quickly, and I tripped.
Where was Miles when this happened?
I tripped, Derek. Now, don't think anything else because it isn't true.
You're sure you're telling me the truth? You're not just saying this to protect you?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Look, in my experience, it's not unusual for a woman who's been beaten by her husband to claim it's her own fault.
Derek, I'm not a battered wife. Please, please, don't make anything worse than it is.
And you admit that things aren't good between you.
I didn't say that. It's true that Miles hasn't been himself lately. I think it's just overwork. But it doesn't mean that we've been arguing or quarreling or anything like that.
Nicole, this morning your husband came into the house like an avenging angel, accusing us of
I
having an
know,
affair.
Derek. I'm sorry. Please? Please? I don't want to talk about this now.
It's okay, I understand. Where is Miles?
Why do you ask?
Well, I would think a concerned husband would want to be at his wife's side at a time like this.
He's going to be here any minute.
I see. And maybe I better go. Oh, wait, there's something else. When I was back at the house, I noticed a broken bottle.
A bottle?
A bottle of whiskey from the bar table. Looked like it had been thrown across the room and hit the fireplace.
Derek. Miles didn't throw anything to me. I mean, you've got to believe that. This was an accident.
Hurry it up, lady. I ain't got all day.
I'm trying. It isn't easy with you watching over my shoulder all the time.
Yeah, well, you ain't writing the great American novel.
Listen, Benny. Benny, you said you wanted all the facts. You don't want me to forget anything.
You know you owe me this, don't you, lady, huh? I mean, after the trick you tried to pull,
If
huh?
I had, I would have reported you and you would have been arrested.
Yeah, well, I don't have to worry about that now, huh? Your little note, it's gonna be my insurance policy. Let's see what you got.
Just out of curiosity, what would you have done if I refused to write that?
You don't want to know, lady. To whom it may concern, Mr. Benny Hayes, oh, I like the sound of that, yeah, and Mrs. Nancy Carr entered into an agreement in which she contracted with Mr. Hayes to have him supply certain information to be used as background material for an article for the Monticello News. In return, Mr. Hayes was to be paid the sum of $500. Mr. Hayes satisfactorily supplied said information and was willingly paid his fee.
That's what you wanted.
Yes. Now, all you gotta do is sign it.
Just a minute, Nancy. Sure you wouldn't like to have a lawyer look at that first?
So I finally meet the old man, huh?
Mr. Hayes, my purpose in coming here is to make sure that no harm comes to my wife.
Well, she's just fine. Why don't you go back to where you came from?
Mike, how did you find me?
By the time I got to the phone booth, you were gone. But I saw your car, then I noticed this diner. I figured you might have decided to stay in the neighborhood. Has Mr. Hayes been behaving himself?
He had me sign a statement saying that he'd gotten $500 legitimately.
Yeah, well, that's just to let Chief Mallory know all the rumors he's been hearing ain't true.
Sort of a disclaimer?
Yeah, you can call it that.
And it's a good thing I happened along.
That's a matter of opinion, mister.
Well, it could be advantageous to you as well, Benny.
What are you talking about?
Well, you wouldn't want that to be worthless because of some legal technicality, would you?
Hey.
Just as I thought. This would never stand up in court.
Why not?
That's not worth the paper it's written on.
What are you talking about? She put her name on it.
It has to be witnessed.
So you
Benny.
signed it. Here. Come on.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Benny. In its present form, there's nothing in it to indicate that she signed it of her own free will. You could have forced her to write this, threatened her with harm if she refused to comply.
She wanted to write the note. Hey, you tell him. Come on.
You know what I think? I think it was written under duress, and that's a crime in and of itself.
Oh, please, no! Stop it! No, Mike! Please! No!
What's the hurry, Benny? Is this the guy, Mr. Carr?
That's him. Benny Hayes. He was worth waiting for, wasn't he?
Yeah, I've tangled with Benny before. Now it looks like we've got him on an assault charge.
Sure is pretty outside. You know, this beats watching the snow fall from my living room window. Except it does make the alley look kind of nice.
Yeah, well, the way it's coming down, we're gonna be able to make a lot more snowmen for our little friend outside.
I haven't had so much fun making snowmen playing in the snow since I was a kid.
Well, there's nothing like the great outdoors.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think being indoors with you is pretty great.
Hot chocolate. It's so peaceful here, Steve. It's like everything bad is a million miles away. We don't have to think about any of it.
I know what I want to think about, and that's you. For the rest of the weekend, only you.
So glad you asked me to come up here. Oh, I can't tell you how happy I am.
Good. I think when we get back to civilization, I'm going to have to buy Robbie Moskowitz a nice gift for letting us use his place this weekend. How about an electric can opener?
Oh. We were lucky Chief Mallory let us to get the same days off.
Oh. I think we could stay here forever.
Goodness. I think we can, too. Look at how it's coming down out there.
Yeah, it's starting to pile up.
You know, you went out for firewood not more than an hour ago, and it's already covered up. Look at that.
Yeah,
The
well,
tracks, they're not even there.
At least snow here doesn't turn into all that gray slush we get back home. This will stay pretty like this for days.
I want to get a forecast.
Hey, wait a minute. I thought we agreed. No contact with the outside world over here.
No, I just want to get a weather
The
report.
white stuff are expected to blanket the area before it's over. Due to the intensity of the storm, a traveler's advisory has been posted. By nightfall, dropping temperatures and blown snow should make most roads impassable. Highway Commissioner Harry Peterson says that once the snow stops, his crew will be out to clear the roads.
8 to 10 inches, Steve.
Who
Sounds like a
cares?
blizzard to me.
Oh, let it snow. Come on, I got you to keep me warm.
Steve,
Oh, look, I've never been snowbound before. I think it's exciting.
It's not like we're going to wake up tomorrow and school's going to be canceled, you know. We're not going to be able to get out of the cabin.
I know, somebody up there likes me.
We may be stuck here for days.
Oh, well, we've got plenty of food. If we run out of firewood, we'll have to just snuggle up close together and keep ourselves warm.
That's not the point.
Wait a minute, I thought that's what we both wanted, total privacy.
We have to be back at work day after tomorrow.
Robbie will tell the chief where we are.
I don't think it's right to take advantage of this situation. I don't think so, and you don't think so either, do you?
What do you suppose we should do?
I think we ought to get back into the car and get back to town before the
Oh.
roads get worse.
What, some kind of a romantic weekend, one day.
have more time together in the future. I promise.
Under one condition.
What?
We sneak back into Monticello and not tell anybody we're there.
Why?
Well, that way we can hide out at your apartment for the rest of the weekend. I'm not ready to share you with anybody yet. What do you say?
It's a deal.
Good. I'll put out our fire.
Although I think it would be a good idea to call headquarters and find out what's going on.
Well, that's what I get for dating a cop.
You know what I think this all boils down to, Mrs. Manson?
Oh, thank you. Oh, please, do call me Nola. I thought we were friends.
All right, Nola. You know what I think it all boils down to? It all boils down to the fact that I have something that you seem to think you want.
Well, in a manner of speaking. But I thought it was something that you were perfectly willing to get rid of.
Well, I must admit that I do not find Elliot's company all that charming anymore.
Well, then.
Does not mean that I'm quite prepared to divorce him.
But isn't that the next logical step?
Is it?
Darling, aren't these things simply a matter of chemistry? Your chemistry didn't work with Elliot's, and so you did the sensible thing and parted company.
And you think that you have just the right chemistry, is that it?
Well, it's unfortunate that you and Elliot didn't work out, but that's hardly any reason to block our happiness.
Happiness? Oh, my dear lady, do you honestly expect to find happiness as Mrs. Elliot Dorn?
Look, darling, I have no great illusions about marriage. How could I? But I think it's a risk that's reasonable.
Would you like a little advice?
Not the kind you're about to give me, I'm sure.
Well, that's too bad. Because, to be absolutely frank with you, the only reason I agreed to have this meeting was to have the opportunity to tell you not to let Elliot make a complete fool out of you.
I see.
Because that's what he's going to do, you know. I mean, history has a way of repeating itself, and this is a classic example. He's going to make a fool out of you, Nola, just the way he made a fool out of me.
Look, with all due respect, Margot, we are two different people.
Oh, are we? I don't think so, no, not to Elliot. We are not different at all. We are two mature, lonely, and surprisingly vulnerable women.
I don't think I care to listen to this.
Two rather wealthy women, as it turns out. Oh, for heaven's sake, face it, the man is a money-grubbing opportunist. That love you see pouring from his eyes is love, all right. It's love of your money.
You're speaking out of your own bitterness, Margot.
Speaking out of experience, for heaven's sake. I'm doing you a favor by refusing to divorce Elliot.
Are you sure you're not refusing the divorce merely because you're jealous?
You haven't heard a word I've said. All right. Just do me one little favor, would you? One more thing. When you talk to Elliot, tell him we had this little chat. And tell him that there's not one chance in a million that he's ever going to get a divorce. Tell him that he's never going to be able to make you his loving wife, and see how he reacts.
Look, he's already heard your decision. I was hoping I could change it.
Oh, I bet I know exactly what he said. I bet he said, "Oh, Nola, my darling, I love you far too much to be anything less to you than your loving husband." He did say that, didn't he? Oh, that's so predictable. That's because he's old-fashioned, you see. He's just old-fashioned enough to know that without being your legal husband, he will have no legal claim to your money.
Look, I've heard enough of this.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, woman, the man is a liar and a thief. I'm trying to warn you.
Look, if you loathe him so much, darling, get rid of him.
No, I can't. I can't be that cruel. You know, you're a very lucky woman, Nola, because as soon as he realizes that I am deadly serious, he might just do you the favor of getting rid of you.
In your letter, you mentioned the fact that your husband spoke of me on his deathbed.
He told me how much he'd hurt you.
Are you aware that your husband was the only member of the firm to veto my appointment? And I wanted that job very badly.
Not many young men faced with such a disappointment would be as restrained as you.
No, I was very bitter.
I hope you won't misunderstand me, Mr. Scott. I love my husband very much. But he was a man of many faults. David had his share of mistakes. Unfortunately, he was not the only one who was hurt by them.
What are you trying to say to me?
David was a man with a conscience. The way he treated you caused him a great deal of anguish in his last days. He made me promise to talk to you.
What did he have against me?
He had nothing against you, Mr. Scott. If it had been up to David, you probably would have been given that job.
Then why didn't he give me the job?
David's actions were far from arbitrary. At the time, he felt he had very strong motivations for rejecting you.
Then you know the reason.
David was nothing more than a pawn. He was being forced to hurt you.
By whom?
Well, I suppose it's a kindness to let you know that someone so close to you could do such a terrible thing.
Mrs. Henson, please tell me.
It was your mother-in-law. Margot Huntington saw to it that you never got that job.